Beta. Hello, witches.
Hey, witches.
Happy soon to be full moon. I know that we do these a little bit early, but that's so we can give you ideas on what you might want to do in 3 days.
Yeah.
What day does it actually fall on? The 22nd?
21st.
I always have it marked for 3 days in my calendar. Like all 3 days are totally acceptable for me to do any kind of work. So full moon never falls on one day for me, so I don't actually know which day they say it's on. I have to find the middle day in my calendar to see where I put it. But tonight we are celebrating the Scorpio full moon, kind of, because it's not there yet, but it's coming. It's coming with the Scorpio woman in my life. Hopefully you guys have a Scorpio woman in your life that you love so much.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I feel sorry for her having a Scorpio mother.
Why? No, I
can't imagine. I imagine that was kind of rough at times. I can be a bit blunt.
Okay.
Direct
okay.
and stuff.
I'm not going to argue with that. I'm just I was the people pleasing kid, so I was just like, whatever you want, Mom, whatever you want.
True.
Yeah.
She was the easy one.
I was the easy one.
You were the easy one.
That's because I was just off in my own world all the time.
The other two were too much like me. Stubborn.
Which is so great because when we have Scorpio full moon, we're always in Taurus season, or we're mostly in Taurus season. There are occasional times when it's not, but that is your other daughter's sign.
Yeah, I know.
These two opposites. Right? Ooh.
Yeah.
But when somebody has a Scorpio and a Taurus sign in their charts, or during this time of the moon cycle, this is when you have all the Taurus sensuality and the stuff with the earthy sign, and then you've got the passion and power and intensity of Scorpio. So this could be an orgy type of full moon or something. By yourself or with your husband or partner, or whatever you feel fit to do. Practice safely. That's all I can say. This is an interesting moon because it's considered Scorpio is the witch sign, right? Everybody knows it's the occult sign. And a lot of the things that people suggest to do around the Scorpio full moon for somebody who's kind of shy and not out there, it's okay, that's what you're gonna, okay. But this would be the things that, could be outside of other people's comfort zones. But definitely dancing naked in moonlight is a real thing. They tell you, find a place where you can really absorb the moonlight, being in your most sensual full self, that confidence and just connecting with nature and the moon in that way. I have never actually done that. You?
I have done it.
You've done it?
In my own pool. Yeah, I was out there under the moon.
Okay,
well, not in the ocean. Yeah. Is that what you meant?
No, I just meant out where somebody could possibly see. But you have a fenced-in yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, but I still had to climb that ladder.
Oh, yeah.
So I think what I did is I wore something that I could take, like a robe type of thing.
Yeah.
So once I got on the other side of the ladder, because I had an above ground pool, and once I got on then I could take the robe off and I wasn't going to flash my neighbors, but it was late at night.
How was it?
Oh my God, it was beautiful.
Wonderful.
It was the most wonderful experience, and the water was warm. I was doing it when the water was warm, of course.
So it was summertime?
It was summertime, yeah.
But
that feeling of just floating around in the water and the moon being out, it's wow. I mean, there's really nothing like it.
Nikki says we all need to find some land together. Yeah. Listen, it sounds weird to say, but I've been around hundreds of naked women because I was in the military. So we all had to shower together all the time. It was never a big deal. And it doesn't bother me to be naked in front of women. Not now. I wasn't out there flashing and stuff. I've never done that with men, but to be around a bunch of women that you live with all the time and you guys see each other naked, it's no big deal. I don't care. But if there were any men around, I'd be absolutely not even a little bit. Can't do it. Because in that way, I'm more shy. I'm no. Can't handle it. All right, we got off to a very strange start, but I do want to welcome Linda. Hi, Linda, Jenny, and Nikki, of course. So good to have you guys here tonight. We're going to be going through associations because a lot of what is going on during this Scorpio moon time is very personal and very deep. So we're not actually giving you guys anything to do. I have some questions for you to think about, but I really want to tell you about the influences of Scorpio and some stories so that you can connect this season or well, Scorpio season when it happens in the fall. And then also anytime the moon is in Scorpio, sort of the story that you can think of, what is this energy like for us right now? Because Scorpio is the occult things. It's the secret self. It's the hidden desires. It's the what happens below the surface kind of things. Do you find that most of the time what they say about Scorpios is true for you? like textbook true? Really?
Yeah, unfortunately, even the
Yeah,
bad. Yeah,
even
I
the bad
see,
stuff?
yeah.
Is it all hidden pretty well?
Obsessive, jealous. Well, yeah, I try to keep that under wraps,
Yeah.
of course.
She's like, I don't let anybody know how crazy I actually am.
I don't let my Scorpio come out unless somebody really pushes me. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's part of our makeup. I think is to be obsessive and jealous. We can be really jealous and vindictive. We can be vindictive.
These are the baser emotions of the
I
Scorpio.
know they are the baser
Yeah.
emotions, which I lived in for a very long time. So I just have to say
That's that evolution.
And I probably ruined or damaged, relationships during those periods of time when I was my very Scorpio, unevolved Scorpio self.
Yeah, the ground dwelling Scorpion.
Yeah, the ground dwelling.
I'm going to tell you guys the 3 stories of, going from Scorpio to Eagle to Phoenix. And it's not anywhere. I added my own fluff to this so that we could remember the story of Scorpio's transformation. And this is what we're dealing with during the full moon is how we see ourselves, how we see others, what we can let go of, digging into that personal deep stuff that you don't really want to admit or see. So I think the first thing that everybody should know is that this is associated with like the life, death, rebirth cycle. Like number one thing to know, if that's all you know, that's perfect. Because that can lend you to think of, okay, what do I want to bring to life? What do I want to die? What do I need to bring back to life? Any kind of circle like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's some things that you've like cut the cord to?
Besides exes?
I mean, at least you can.
Bad habits.
Yeah.
I kicked some pretty bad habits at times of my life that were pretty damaging. You know.
What's something that you rebirthed possibly?
Well, I mean, when I was 30, I pretty much flipped a switch and went from went from like a completely overnight. I literally made up my mind. I was like, that's it. I'm leaving this behind and I'm going in this direction. And I never looked back. Awesome. And then from there, it's just been steady climb, soar,
the eagle part of your life.
Yeah, the eagle part.
And then when you got to Florida, it was more like the spiritual side. So you started to become the Phoenix now.
I think so. Yeah. I hope so. Anyway,
that's what I see.
That's what I think I see in my own transformation since I've been here. And, of course, my age now, too. It's like about time.
Yeah. Good old 55 years old already, huh?
Yeah. About damn time.
The next thing is if you know planets, so this is how the associations all work, right? If you know the planets' energies, because there's only 9 of them, there's 12 zodiacs, then you can really give some life to the meaning of the zodiac as well with the planet. So Scorpio was originally ruled by Mars, but then in new astrology, when Pluto was found, it became Pluto, which suits really well. But the 2 planets are interchangeable. It just depends on what you think. But Pluto is known for like the transformer, the bringer, like revolving around the death and rebirth cycles. And Pluto, interestingly enough, it's associated with the sacral chakra. So we're going to bring it full circle where the sacral chakra is about sexuality, creativity, elimination. So this is also like our elimination functions of our body, let that shit go literally. So it's the whole area down there. So you can think about it as that. There's giving life down there. There's eliminating things. Yeah.
There's creation
and creativity, birth,
there's
death.
birth, and then there's elimination.
Yeah.
And getting rid of stuff that you don't want.
Yep.
And that will kill you if you hang on to it.
Yeah. Like you
keep it in your body.
Yeah. That's what secrets and guilt and the bad trapped emotions that we have, they're killers from the inside, right? Like they say stress causes cancer kind of thing or something like that. But when we hang on to the stuff that we haven't dealt with, it physically starts to affect us. It lives in our body in like the muscle tissue, aches and pains, not being able to sleep well at night.
I think that's true for some of the baser emotions that Scorpio has. The end of the spectrum that's more negative, like the jealousy,
the Scorpion spectrum to the Phoenix spectrum.
Like the jealousy. I mean, jealousy can literally like eat you alive. You know, I mean,
I don't know.
Okay.
I've never really been jealous.
Well, it can really consume you. I mean, I know I've done some crazy shit over being jealous of something.
Nice. Love it. See her laugh is that like everything under the surface we'll just never know. Like this is the perfect example.
I'm not gonna tell.
No, I'm not
everybody,
asking
like,
you to. I'm not asking
but
you
it
to.
really wasn't that long ago. But the thing about Scorpios, I feel like, is we can be pushed to a state of pretty much we lose control, or maybe we're just not evolved enough at that particular moment,
at that moment,
to be able to control our emotions, and we can really go off the deep end for a short period of time, and then we wake up and go like, oh fuck, what did I do? You know,
and
you're sitting in jail, like what did I do?
What is it, Miss Jekyll and Hyde?
Jekyll and Hyde, yeah.
A little bit. Okay, so then the last thing to remember to help with the associations, you guys, is that when is Scorpio season? It's in the fall, and that holiday, that witch's holiday that falls during Scorpio season is the witch's new year. It's Samhain. So you can also relate it to endings and beginnings. So you've got several things aligned with the Scorpio season, with the Scorpio sign, the transformations we're getting ready to talk about that will help direct what you think you need to do. Because the thing about Scorpio energy is you have to confront it. Nobody's going to help you confront it. It's not going to be confronted for you usually. It's really you taking that inner insight.
Yeah, and it's actually you recognizing that you have something,
the awareness,
admitting to it. Actually, like admitting to these deep things that you don't want anybody to know. Maybe you're even ashamed of them.
Yeah.
And
that's why
so you try to, you keep those parts of you in the dark, and you don't share them with people, even the people that you're closest to.
Yeah.
And those things are hard to, they're hard to deal with because there's some shame around them.
Yeah.
Typically.
It's hard to reconcile who you are if you haven't explored all of the parts and become okay with them. And that's kind of what the reflection and the awareness that Scorpio is building, where it's that the baser emotions when it is the scorpion on the ground crawling and really just like protecting and defending itself. And, when the Scorpio has gained that insight, I imagine that this Scorpio is like walking around defending itself, kind of like not really causing trouble, but ready to go at any moment if somebody wants to, cause a ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that once you've been through and seen enough of these little like bar fights kind of things, right? I'm picturing this little Scorpio in his little world. Like every night he goes to the bar, there's always a fight. He's always got to deal with some bullshit. You get tired of it and you're like, you know what? I want out of here. I don't want to do this game anymore. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
And so I picture the scorpion on his little legs taking off, or her little legs. And as the faster that they go, like their legs transform into wings and they lift off from the ground and become their eagle form because they've decided they no longer want to be where they're at. They're ready to take off. That's you in your 30s. You were like,
when I was 29.
29. Yeah.
I mean, I almost know the day.
That's how powerful and transformational it is.
Wow. That's how big of a deal it was.
Dang. Yeah. So once Scorpio gets to the eagle part of it, right? That's its second phase. We're looking at now like perspective and awareness from above, where the things they didn't used to understand or see, even their own actions, they didn't really understand how their actions might have hurt others, how actions hurt themselves and their growth. That eagle from that viewpoint now can really see the damage that's done, like widespread, like, oh my gosh, I see now all the ways that this connects and puts things together. It's very perspective and eye-opening place to be. From there, the eagle has to turn into a phoenix once it reaches like a certain level of awareness. And that awareness is when they have learned to let go of all of the baggage and they realize that there's purpose and they're spiritual and they're here for reasons and they don't always have to defend themselves or be guarded. They can just let things go as they happen if they don't like them. So I imagine at this point, the eagle who's been flying around now for however long is settled in the nest and just kind of contemplating or thinking. And the light, the spiritual light that is inside the eagle during that time of reflection becomes so hot and bright that like everything burns off. And then she emerges as that phoenix, brand new, going like, whoa, what just happened? And there's that newfound insight where she can still take flight and be up here. And I guess one of the greatest things to know about this transformation is it's never usually like a straight circle like this. It's like go up, back, go dial it in. You're going round and round like a rotary phone, I think. And it's as you move through situations that you're comfortable with, uncomfortable with, you go back to that protective state of the scorpion on the ground, then you can go to perspective of eagle, all the way through understanding that everything has its purpose, place for you and others. And then you don't have to be controlled.
Describing me.
I know, it's so weird. I don't think of my mom like this, like, I don't know. I think it's really hard to see like that.
But I recognize it.
Yeah.
I recognize what you're saying. Well, you were gone for 20 years.
What?
So
I was?
Yeah, you left right out of high school and weren't around. There was a lot of things that happened over the course of that time. And when I was 29 and made the switch from old life, new life,
yeah,
you were too young to
remember
like
5
that. So
or 7.
Well, Jolene was 1, so.
Oh yeah, so I was like 5, 6,
one or 2, between 1 and not 2 yet. She wasn't 2 yet. So,
well, I have this,
it's interesting to hear her describe it this way, and then to be like, oh yeah, definitely.
But the transformation, I mean, it's usually not in a straight line, or it's not, linear or whatever, but that we move through. I love the spectrum thing. I'll always love the spectrum where you've got the extremes, right? And you're usually not just sitting at one for a long time. You're moving across that line from the wholehearted, enlightened phoenix to the baser emotions, protecting themselves, scorpion on the ground.
Well, the interesting thing about that is the base emotion is always there, and you can, depending on what happens, you can revert back to that, at least in a moment of time when something happens, you can revert back to that super defensive, like up the tail up and sting anybody that messes with you, and just go back to that really
familiar.
I was going to
say behavioral pattern.
Yeah, I was actually going to say really nasty, because who has scorpions that, I mean, those are dangerous.
They glow under the light.
Oh, I love that.
I know. I love that about them. I think they're cool.
But nobody wants to mess with a scorpion. You don't mess with scorpions. And, they're not like pet friendly or anything like that.
Not like a tarantula.
Yeah, not like a tarantula where you can let them crawl on your arm and they'll sting your ass.
Dang it. Well, the letting go is probably, for most people that are dealing with the rough part of scorpion energy or feeling the high emotions, the deep intensity, the act to do or think about is what you can let go of. Even letting go of like rumination in your mind of the bad experiences that have kept you in this place that you can go back to. Remember that when we think, our body does not know it's not actually happening to us. So when we are stressing ourselves out over something that happened 10 years ago, our body's reliving every single part of that. It doesn't know that we're not actually in danger and hurting and scared for our lives when we're reliving that kind of thing. So letting go of it is, giving yourself an affirmation like that's in the past and I don't want to relive it anymore. I'm going to move forward. Every day is a new day. I get to choose something different and create a different picture in your mind that you'd rather see rather than the bad things that have happened. It doesn't mean that they didn't happen or they're not valid and what you went through is not real. It just means that it doesn't need to control your path going forward. Like let it be behind you. You go from this control, rebellion, cycle or pattern with things, right? You want to be in control to keep yourself safe. Then if somebody tries to control you back, you rebel against the whole thing or you don't feel free. And we're going to move that from control and rebellion, that cycle behavior, to like awareness for sure. And then probably forgiveness, but I'm not in control of anybody forgiving. Who knows what the hell you guys have been through, but it is something that you switch to from the control rebellion, to the awareness and then the forgiveness.
It's very helpful when you can forgive and move past the old hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever forget. Like I don't forget. I know it's there. I just choose not to think about it. Like I had to teach myself to stop being angry about the person who did stuff to me.
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't want him to occupy space in my head anymore. I just don't want to, I wish I hadn't remembered his name or, like I had gone years without talking about it. And then when I finally had to, it was like, I had to relive all of that stuff again and it wasn't fun. And it took me a long time to sort of like let that go or to get it out of my head. It's not really letting it go. I don't know that I like that word because you don't ever let it go. It's never just
no, but it
totally
doesn't become
gone.
This thing that you're thinking about a lot and remembering all these different things. So my last relationship is just probably in the last year. It probably took over 4 years for me to really stop ruminating all over the shit that happened, or to be able to not respond when he would reach out occasionally, like, hi. And I'm like, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah. A really good thing to remember is that when we get out of bad situations and we get away from, the people who mistreat us, hurt us, whether they're family, friends, spouses, boyfriend, girlfriend, doesn't matter, even jobs, bosses, that's, God, talk about hating life when you're, working for somebody that is just
a total asshole.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's the worst.
When you are able to get away from those things and you start to heal, because normally on this journey of being witches, that's what we're here for, right? We're all trying to heal a part of ourselves. We're trying to reclaim our power. We want to like feel like ourselves again. We want to be whole. So we're drawing all of our power back to us, all of our everything. People are attracted to shiny things. And when you are being more full and you're taking care of yourself, you're shinier and they know it. And that's when they're like, hey, well, I can see your
and they
light
can
from
sense
over
it
here.
from like 1,000 miles away too.
Yeah, from the middle of the United States. Yes, they're like, I think I know that she's all lit up again. Oh, she's all healthy. Let me call and try to ruin it all over again.
Yeah. Let me see how much power I still hold here.
Yeah. So I like to use visualizations for energy work or thinking about what you would do as far as releasing, letting go. Trying to move past things. And maybe it's not just this one full moon. Maybe you start working now and it goes through to the next full moon or into new moon for Scorpio in the fall.
It actually may come full circle by the new moon.
Yeah.
But in 6 months from now.
Yeah.
November is in November when it's Scorpio season, because that's what I feel that time frame is.
Yeah, the 6 months.
Yeah. I feel like this is a very slow process usually. For me, it was anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe some people can move. It depends on your level of damage, that you've had in your life and trauma that you had in your life.
Yeah.
What's going on? Whether you can move through it. It's not quickly. That's not really the right word, but just sometimes the healing takes longer. That's all. It takes,
I think it's hard to relive it to heal it, because that's what you are essentially doing that, right? Like you're thinking about it and then you remind yourself, I need to find a way to move past this, but it doesn't stop the thought from coming back. And so I always talk about replacing behaviors. So say you think of the ex or whatever it is, the abuse, have it already set up in your mind, like the image that you want to see instead, whether you snap a picture of something on your phone and be like, I just thought of the thing. Okay, let me go look at this picture and like change my focus. What you're doing is you're unwiring your brain from that attachment.
Well, for me, it was the distance that I put between us.
Yeah.
And then, for a while, I guess I still had this in the back of my mind, hope that something would
he'd finally be the person you wanted to be.
Exactly. Yeah. So for a while I clung to that. Because, letting go of the love is very hard, even if it was a messed up situation.
Well, so you're also very loyal. You put in a lot of hard work.
I did. I had a lot invested in it. Mm-hmm. And it was a big chunk of my life that I put into this relationship. But over time, and what would happen is, the reaching out, and then the things that he would reach out about. And it was always like, it would come around to needing something. And I'm like, I'm not sending you money.
You started to recognize
I started to recognize him because I wasn't right there, with him in the same.
He couldn't make you feel all cushy and nice, and then ask.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But eventually, if you give it enough time, the love starts to fade, and you start to see the reality of, or at least I did see the reality of what the situation was and who that person really was. And even if at one time they weren't like that when you fell in love with them, but they, the relationship revolved over time to where it was very one-sided.
Yeah.
And I was the giver and he was the taker. And I stuck around hoping for change, something like, oh, I got to be able to fix this, right? I mean, I'm so powerful that I should be able to fix this person, whatever's wrong with them. Yeah, not. So eventually, but for me, it was the pattern of seeing the things come up again and again that had already caused problems. before. So the last time was like the hurricane.
Oh yeah.
The hurricane when the hurricane happened, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So when I'm done, and I think I feel like this is really part of Scorpio. I feel like this is a very Scorpio thing. When I'm done with something, I'm done, and I just cut people off, and I don't look back. I'm like, you had your chances, many of them.
And how many S's follow that?
Exactly.
Okay, so for a visualization of what Scorpio energy is like, or even if you have a Scorpio in your life, I really like the iceberg picture, because you only see the tip of what's going on with the iceberg, right? Like they have all this stuff underneath, and you don't know when it'll come up, what'll happen, and there's parts of what it is, like what's lurking underneath.
What's below the surface.
And for ourselves, it's also true. Like everybody has a part of that where there are masks that we put on. There's like, put on a happy face and go outside in the world and pretend like everything's fine. I always hated being asked, oh, how are you today? I want to be like, well, it's a really shitty day. Thank you for asking. No, you're not going to say that. You're going to be like, oh, I'm fine. How are you? And it's going to be all this, pleasantries that aren't real. And you just leave going, I don't feel felt or heard or understood. And who do I talk to about what's actually going on with me? I'd rather people just not ask me that. Like, don't ask me how I'm doing. It always feels too generic for me. Although every day I ask my mom, how was work today?
I said it to my grandson when he comes home too.
But she's honest though. You'll be like, oh, today was so, she'll spill the beans. But if she's to go out in the world at the store or something, she'd be like, everything's fine. How are you today? We don't want to dump our stuff on others. So make sure that when you're figuring your things out, you have that safe person to kind of like, I almost want to say release on. Sorry, ruin your flower crown. Not release on, but when you just need to let shit out, a really good way to approach your person who loves you and cares about you is say, I have stuff I need to talk about. I don't need you to fix anything. I don't need you to help me solve it. I just need to talk about it. Like just getting it out of your head, the words coming out of your mouth, you actually start to realize stuff on your own anyways. And then maybe you can brainstorm together, but let that other person off the hook that you don't need them to fix you. You don't need them to solve your problem, but you really need an ear. You need somebody to listen to it, and make sure they're okay to do that. Because sometimes when we dump stuff on our partners, they're like, I wasn't ready for that at all. Like, I did not know that. Yeah. So, maybe break them in slowly test the waters with that to see how much they really want to know about your past. Telling people that you've been abused. I hate the look on the face. It's like, oh God, come here. I was like, no, I don't need that. I'm okay now. I want you to like, hoorah, fuck you, I got out of there kind of thing with me, like, let's party now. I don't want to do the sad thing. So find your way and your person of talking about it and seeing what's underneath the surface with that iceberg energy, I think. All right. The next one was, well, I guess it was like deep waters. That's another thing because you're a water sign.
Yep.
They talk about, I'm going to Scotland in like 5 days, you guys. So I can't stop thinking about Loch Ness, of course. And I'm only going by there. I'm not really doing anything on Loch Ness. But I've seen recently on Ancient Aliens, because I'm that kind of nerd, that the whole thing is like lined with quartz crystals. So, they have crazy theories. But they talk about how deep the ravine is that makes Loch Ness. And that's like them describing it reminded me of this image of, this is a loch, it's a lake, right? So it's just smooth water, flat. You have no idea how deep it is. That's also Scorpio energy. Like you could come upon a beautiful lake, but never know that there's like an abyss down there.
Like what's like Lake Mead. So
Lake Mead.
Yeah, Lake Mead. I mean, it was very, very deep until the drought, and now like things are being revealed.
Oh,
now
that's right.
Now that the lake is, they've not had rain, and the water level's going down and down and down, and like boats are down there, and just cars and all kinds of shit. I mean, not small things, big things, boats and cars.
It's great imagery for uncovering things about ourselves, And I always think like a good way to picture that is let the tears out, let that emotional flow go, like let that water drain out so that you can really start to talk about like what's going on that deep level. But that cathartic cry, I love to cry. I watch sad movies just so I can cry when it is my moon time, because I'm like, I need this. My body is like, just wants to shed everything. Tears, salt, drink some, pee more. Like it's all happening, right? Just like fluid in, fluid out. So find your space to do that, to be able to have that cathartic release. Sometimes it's going for a run. I have to get out like energy. I have to be like, be angry and on the treadmill for way too long. You wake up the next day and you can't move.
Yep.
Okay. I went through the whole story. So I think that is everything on my card. I think so.
Did you cover this stuff here?
Yes,
yeah,
that was, yep.
Okay. Yep.
Well, I have the questions. So again, I didn't want to get too deep because I feel like we're going to have this live and then we're not going to be there to support you. Like there's no Q&A after this. So if you really are going through really tough stuff, I didn't want to break that open. We just can't support you guys in that way right now because we can't interact like we want to. Tears. So when we get the school up and running, we'll be able to do meetings after lives or something where we're in a safe classroom environment that on a website that we own, so that when people want to talk about stuff, that's a place where we can all go and not be Zoom bombed, which is the whole reason we got off Meetup to begin with. So these questions are not as deep as they could be because I wanted to be gentle because I can't support you after asking them. But things about loyalty come up during Scorpio season, and where do your loyalties lie? And when you think about others and people you're serving, because you might be very loyal to them, where do their loyalties lie? So you're starting to gain that awareness of where your boundaries are and where other people have placed boundaries with you. And you're kind of looking at like, is this fair? Am I getting what I need emotionally? Am I getting what I need physically, mentally, at work? Are you getting the pay that you actually deserve? There's loyalty that comes in around this time of year, and you might really start to call people out on their stuff. That's part of that Scorpio energy. So where do your loyalties lie? And you can look at the people next to you as well. And then who do you try to control in your life, or who is controlling you? Because the pattern with Scorpio is to figure out the control and then to rebel. That is the baser part of it, because they haven't learned to like set the boundaries and get out of it or move, or, we get stuck. Like I was stuck for 10 years. How many times have you been stuck?
Many.
Too many.
Too many, yeah.
Too many to count. This is all the S's afterwards. Stuck. Remember that pattern of like control and rebellion. So you want to ask yourself, like, who am I trying to control? Am I controlling myself well? Because Scorpio's elevation or transformation is about, they learn to control their baser emotions so that they can be healthier outward and inward.
Mm-hmm.
So those are like light Scorpio conversations. If you want to dig deeper into it, I will recommend a book. I love her. She is not famous. She should be, I think. Her name is Simone Butler, and I absolutely love this book. She has a smaller version called 10-Minute Moon Rituals, but she assigns a goddess to every single full moon. She shows rituals, altars, just like there's a wealth of information in this. I love her. So this is Moon Power by Simone Butler. She has a couple books, but this is one that I reference a lot when I'm looking for ideas. There's so much information in it. We haven't done any kind of review over it yet.
Not yet, but I want to now. I'm going to have to buy that book. I have the little
so much
the 10-minute spell on.
It's like, let's see, 200 and some odd pages, 208 pages. It's just a very good resource, especially if you like doing stuff with the moon. This will really help you get the idea of the energy that's going on around those full moons. Okay.
I love all of that, by the way. I love being analyzed online. That's super cool. Although it wasn't intentional, but it was totally calling me out of my shit. So I just want to, we talked about Scorpio specifically, and me, because I am a Scorpio. I feel like a lot of things that Jamie said, it's like, oh shit, that hits really close to home.
I wasn't calling you out, I promise.
I know you weren't, because I'm not like, I'm the Phoenix now. I'm elevated. Although there's times when I still struggle with boundaries. Because as much as I will confront somebody, I don't really like confrontation, and boundaries are hard for me. So I still have to go back and, gather myself up and be like, okay, and be careful of how I say things. But what I'm going to share with you is specifically about what's going on in the sky right now. So some of you may be feeling which is that because we're in eclipse season, so we have the energy of the eclipse, which that can last 4 to 6 weeks, that energy of the eclipse season. And then we have this like really powerful, strong, there's stuff going on in the planets. There's a trine that's like crazy energy. So what can happen here at this time is like all these things are coming up that we don't want to deal with. Like we're being forced. So, and this could be across all, whether you're Scorpio or not, these are just things as like, I don't want to deal with this. And I've kept it tucked away, but now it's going to come to the surface now. And or potentially for some of us anyway. Oh, no. So there would be things that you're like dark things that you've denied, that you've avoided, that you've suppressed, that you've misinterpreted, you even rejected. So all of those things are like kind of have buried. They may start bubbling up, and you're like, shit, where is this coming from, and why am I feeling these emotions right now? That's what's going on in the sky with this. That's the kind of energy around this full moon. Mm-hmm. So it's not potentially a light time, but it is a time where if some of this stuff that, you haven't dealt with, you may be forced to deal with, because there could be like really big change, like huge changes right now for some people. So if that's you, hang in there, girl.
I canceled all my counseling sessions this week. I was like, I just can't go. I don't want to. I don't know. I didn't want to talk to anybody about
okay.
stuff.
So you avoid. Well, you can avoid it, and then you'll have to deal with it later at some point in time.
I did. I put in new appointments for May, but I was like, I just don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to do it.
I think the important thing for me, anyway, as a Scorpio who deals with this on a regular basis, because I've always got crap.
She lives this.
I live. This is my life. The important thing for me in a period like this, when things are coming up, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to remember that. I don't want to deal with that. That's too hard. Mm-hmm. For me, it's about having my personal space and my time to myself. I really withdraw, and I'm like, I don't want to see anybody. I just want to stay home. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not mad. I just need some time alone.
Processing time.
Because it's those feelings and those emotions and whatever it is, it's bubbling up, that's trying to come up and make you confront it, that you're not wanting to confront, that you haven't confronted for a long time. You need time to process through that. So journaling probably very helpful, and spending time sort of like in your own space. Of course, getting out in nature is always super helpful. If you can get into the water, the water is.
It's cleansing and it's recharging.
I think I even saw in this chapter is like things to do is like,
one was get in salt water.
One was get in salt water. Yeah. So there's things that you can do to sort of help you get through there could be big things in the world even that happen around this time because of what's going on in the sky right now. So
transformation.
Yeah. So big changes, like
transformation.
I'm talking like earthquake type.
Remember,
stuff.
It's like
not physical earthquake, but such a big change that it's monumental.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with that, like I said, hang in there. Take care of yourself.
Yes.
Give yourself the grace that you need to
giving yourself grace.
Get through this period of time, and just really treat yourself with kindness and love, and do what you need to do to take care of yourself.
I think one of the things that was most beneficial for me was realizing that I'm the one that puts all these expectations on myself, which then if I don't live up to them, then I'm feeling bad, and I'm doing it all to myself. Like I expect myself to, get up and do these certain things every day and feel good and be happy, and sometimes you just don't. And on those days, it's like I'm decompressing today. I'm not doing shit. I'm not putting away laundry. I'm not cleaning a dish. I'm not doing anything. Today is just about me doing nothing but being in my garden, probably.
Yeah. So for me, sometimes it's like when I've had a really rough week, my Saturday is like, I don't want to do anything. I have a million things to do that I need to do, but like I don't have don't have the energy for it right now.
And you're not going to feel guilty about not doing it.
Nope. I'm just going to lay in bed if that's what I want to do, and sleep if I need to sleep more, or veg out in front of the TV and Netflix and chill.
It's giving yourself time to rest and recover. I think we're on the go, and Kat and I stay very busy. It's like we look forward to bedtime because we're like, oh, okay, rest. Laying in bed at 8:30. Like, all right.
Well, at my age now, I'm really sick of taking care of stuff. Like I've been doing dishes and cooking meals since I was 17 or probably younger than that. And those are always my responsibilities. So now I'm just, I hate the kitchen. I don't want to go in there and make food because then I have to clean up. And it's always something always needs to be cleaned. And I'm like, can I just get a maid, please? Because I hate this stuff. And I used to love to clean the house. And now I'm just like, man, after 50 years, 60 years of doing it, it's not 60 years, but 50 years of doing that, you're just like, I'm really burnt. I need a new job.
I think though, if you had people like it's because it's just you trying to appreciate you. But if you had other people that really appreciated what you did, like the meals that you made and how clean stuff was and came in, and I think that would really change the relationship that you have with cooking. Because when we make food or you make food and bring it to us, it's very exciting.
Oh yeah,
I like to cook for others.
I like cook for other people, but for myself, I don't want to clean up the mess. No. That's my biggest gripe. Is like, if I cook, then I have to clean, and I'm like, again, this happens like 3 times a day. So I make stuff really easy that doesn't require a lot of, like, most of the time I'll cook one day and then eat that for like the whole week. Yeah, that's what I try to do.
Try to make it easier on yourself. Okay. That's having grace. Just like you make your expectations. So if you're disappointed, like you can control that by saying, okay, well, I tried to be like a go-getter, but I didn't go to the gym this week, whatever. You know what?
Don't call me out on that. I haven't gone to the gym.
I didn't know that. So
she just uncovered one of my secrets. Like I got in the habit of going. Yeah. And then this week I was like, I don't want to get up.
That's Scorpio feelings coming through, and you just,
I just can't. And so today is like this. I'm like, Holly, it's Thursday. Fuck it. This week's a bust.
I already didn't go 3. Doesn't matter. 2 days isn't going to help. Well, for me, it's like, instead of feeling guilty about it, it's like, I'm choosing not to go. So now I'm okay. Cause like, I chose it. I chose that I wanted to do it and I made the goal. And then I chose I'm not going to do it. And I'm just gonna be like, I found something better to do. Scroll on Instagram. No, plant my garden. Always in the garden. Always in the garden. Okay. We hope that you found this really helpful or at least funny, or that it gave you something to remember, just the Scorpio energy in general. I hope that you guys got some kind of idea of how you might work through your, darker shadow self, the deep things that you really don't want to deal with, or you've been putting off for a while. This is a good time to do it. The universe supports you in that. And it does change things. We always suggest writing things down because it is so powerful to see that first, page or 2 of what you're going through. And then a month later, how you've kind of worked through it and gone around, and you go back and read who you were 30 days ago. And you're like, wow, okay. Yeah, I remember that. But now I've done some work, and you're at this point, you're like, oh man.
Well, and you really have motivating. After 30 days, you gain a different perspective on it because you're not in the midst of it. And so you're like, oh, whew, that was rough, but okay. Yeah. I can now look back and go like, yeah, that was hard, but I'm better now, even if it was just taking care of yourself and, resting a lot more than you usually do, or spending time in nature, in the water.
That's literally me looking at last year. I was like, oh, that was really hard. I'm glad we're through that now. It's a lot better now. It's a lot better. And that's all I can really I didn't really journal. I didn't do shit last year besides try to take care of myself. And that just flew in my eye, mommy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Our lights. Okay. All right, you guys, we're gonna jump off. We're going to go talk about things because I guess Kat has some secrets that I didn't know. And take little Tanky here for a walk because he's all ready to go. Oh, are you going to get in the camera? Like, there he is. I know. I heard you barking, buddy. All right, you guys. We will see you. No, I won't be here next week.
No, Jamie's gone for the next 2 weeks, so we won't have a live for
just 1 week. We won't have a live for just 1 week.
Really? I thought it was 2.
Nope, just 1 because I come back on Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh no, do I come back on Thursday?
You come back on Thursday.
I'm gone for 2 weeks.
I don't think
I'll send videos from Scotland.
Yeah, I'm begging her to do lots of videos so I can post them.
Yes.
It's so hard. We'll just see how she, she's going to be all
pressure's on now. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, she's going to, she's on vacation and really going to be absorbing all the things. So I don't know how much we're going to get to see of it, but I'm hoping.
I'll try. I promise. I'm
hoping.
I'll try. So. All right, you guys. We will see you in a couple weeks, I guess then. Yep. Huh? All right. Bye.
Bye, y'all.